TheFreeRotation podcast.
So hi guys, welcome to the Free Rotation podcast. I'm not the host this episode, but I had to stop Bobby from talking at this point. And I'm joined, it's Becky. I'm joined by Bobby.
Hi.
Hey Chris, how are you doing?
I'm well. How are y'all?
We're just great. We're just fantastic. We're just great today.
We're doing perfectly wonderful.
And then we're also joined by Angela, who's recovering from quite the illness the last few days.
Not COVID.
I know. I was like,
Just a stomach bug, but yes.
so today, speaking of stomach bugs, we're going to be
Did you
talking.
have hot poop?
Yeah, it was bad.
Cool. Well, he's speaking of stomachs.
Yeah, speaking of stomach bugs, we're talking about superstitions. You're welcome.
I'm not superstitious, but I am a little stitious.
She's bad at this.
Yes.
I don't. This has been going on for years now.
Speaking of home remedies for stomach bugs, here's some superstitions.
superstitions.
You know what? I can't win them all.
But yeah, so all of us actually ended up researching, I guess, different regions and different areas of the world regarding superstitions to see if we could find overlap, to see if we could understand how these ideas came to being. And so we're about to enlighten you bitches. So who would like to start? Class?
I'll
Bueller?
go.
Bobby's got it. He's Asian.
Yeah, go.
True.
Oh yeah. Number one in the class.
Now, am I listing these all off at once, or am I just doing them one at a time?
You can do them one at a time.
You can do them one at a time, and then we can talk about them.
Okay, sure.
And see if we all have overlapping stuff.
I think me and Angie will have one. Never stick chopsticks upright into your food.
Oh.
I have heard that before.
Yeah, Dan has
Yeah.
a conniption
Huh.
to do that.
For the Japanese and Chinese, placing your chopsticks upright in your food resembles incense used to mourn dead family members.
Oh shit.
Oh, that makes
Yeah.
sense.
That actually does
Okay.
make sense. I just thought it was something like you're very like disrespectful to your food, like crappy food.
I thought it was
stab
just like elbows on the table. Like it's just rude.
Like
it's
rude
just one
air.
of those.
That's kind of terrifying, actually.
I'm the asshole that puts them in my mouth, makes them look like vampire things, and eats it like that.
I don't think there's anybody who hasn't tried to do that before.
true.
A funny story, I called chopsticks last night pistachios. I asked for pistachios. I could be stroking out at this minute.
Yeah, I'm like this.
And Angie just had an aneurysm, ladies
Yeah.
and gentlemen.
The
The
poor
server was like,
She's like, do you understand what in your culture are they called pistachios? Yes.
You know, the sticky
I
things.
was like, the steaks that you eat with. And I'm
The
like, eating with
steaks.
my fingers. Yeah. She was like, okay.
Okay,
Fair.
boomer.
Never whistle at night.
That's a thing too. Turkey has that as well. Like that's a whole. I don't know if you knew do you know the English version of that? Why that is?
Because you'll summon the hellhounds.
It was like the seven whistlers or something like that, where like they're birds. They'll tell of your death or some shit. That's like a whole thing.
Oh, this is just so you don't get ghosts to come attract ghosts and shit.
Yeah, I think each one has a different version. Turkey has it too, because hey, I love turkey.
And this one's in Asia?
Yeah.
This is
Aren't
an
there
Asian
tigers in
one.
Asia?
Yeah.
I'd be making noise at night. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Fair.
I ain't letting nothing sneak up on me.
Staring in every bush, like, you're not going to creep up on me, apex predator.
I couldn't find why Turkey had that version. I think it's just because you're gonna call ghosts like in
Yeah.
Asia, but I know
Well-
England it was because it was like foretelling of your death.
I think Turkey had it because you could call, like, some tomatoes and eat them. You could have, like, a turkey sandwich.
Oh, the recovery is slow, isn't it, babe?
I like that.
But
Never place a mirror in front of your bed because, mirrors are portals for ghosts and they'll steal your soul.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the one I was like sharing with Angie's. I knew.
that's one that I think might be universal because I'm going to
Yeah.
talk about one like that for a minute,
Yeah.
but it's not super long.
Never shake your leg.
Really?
I'm dead because I shake it all the time. I'm shaking it right now.
When you're shaking your leg, you're thought to be shaking off your wealth and good luck. The superstition comes from the old belief that shaking your leg suggests idleness, that you're shaking your leg because you're not doing any physical labor at work.
I mean, that's true, too, though.
And like shaking leg, like, but it's like, what? I mean, it's hard not to shake your leg.
Yeah, but I think that one, his version is more of the if you have time to lean, you have time to clean.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
If you've got enough energy to just sit there twitching, get some shit done.
That is such an Asian thing too. It's like you should be doing something.
Yep.
I usually twitch in meetings, though. It's like I could be doing so much. So, yeah.
Yeah.
There's truth to that one.
Always avoid the fourth floor of a building. in the Chinese language, the number 4 is nearly homophonious with the word death. Many buildings in Asia don't have a 4th floor because it's thought to be unlucky.
So do they have 13th floors? Is it
Yeah, it's just 4.
it's 4's bad?
And it's in the Chinese language.
13's the one here. We're like Friday.
Which we know why Friday the 13th is so horrifically seen, right?
Yeah.
It was a day a lot of people were massacred.
Right.
So you were beware of Friday the 13th.
It was the Knights Templar.
Yep.
Because they collected a bunch of money from somewhere.
Yeah.
The French king was like, you know what, that's enough, and went and had them all killed on the same day.
That's very unfortunate.
Well, he did it on the same day so that none of them could warn the other ones. So it was this huge massed out plan, like all of them, and he still missed a bunch.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
they killed a lot of them.
Well, it's interesting, like, to me, the whole, like, floor thing, like, you don't have a 4th floor, but there's still, it's 4 or 13. It's like, I guess just renumbering it and relabeling is how it works.
Well, I think, especially with, like, the Chinese one, because the number, whatever their word for 4 is almost the same word for death.
Yeah.
They just don't call it the 4th floor. It's just the 5th.
That was just some bad nomenclature that they came up with. They could have avoided that back in the day.
They have a lot of urban legends, too, about a mysterious 4th floor that the elevator will stop at. And don't get out on that 4th floor. And I never understood those urban legends, but now I do.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Thanks for
Because, like, the
enlightening
lights
us,
will be
Bobby.
off and, like, screechy, and you'll see this woman in the back.
Close. Close. Close.
Urinate. Close.
Oh, we can play the elevator game sometime. That's always fun.
No, I'm good.
Never sleep with the fan on while your doors or windows are closed.
That's all of us, mostly.
It's a famous Korean superstition that it originated from a story printed in one of their newspapers in 1927 called Strange Harm from Electric Fans. It warned readers that electric fans, which were new at the time, could cause nausea, facial paralysis, and asphyxiation because it came from the theory that the fan would circulate stale air, causing the sleeper to choke on their own carbon dioxide. Monoxide. Dioxide,
Wow.
whatever.
Okay, so that one is real interesting
wild.
because that's more modern.
Yeah.
That's like an urban legend.
Yeah, but you'd
almost
think
now.
they'd have
Yeah.
a single scientist that was like, hey, no.
But it's the 20s, so we still had snake oil salesmen and stuff, so it kind of makes
That
sense.
was, even by the 20s
Yeah.
here, that was mostly all gone. But you would think there'd be one intelligent person in Korea being like, no.
Yeah.
I could just imagine we would all be dead because I sleep with a
dude.
fan
Oh, yeah.
on.
I have 2 fans on.
Yeah.
I don't play that
yeah.
game.
Yeah, I like the nice, cool air in my room.
I need the sound. It's like that white noise.
Yeah.
It's just so nice.
Well, and it's like, I do like the air circulating. I
Yeah.
like the way it feels. Sometimes, like, the air just feels stale if it just sits there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it gets muggy.
It does. Well, we live in the South, that's why.
True.
Plus, the sound of the fan blocks out some spooky noises.
Exactly.
Like, if there's
Angie
a
going to
straight-
the true heart of the
Look,
issue.
If I hear something under the bed, I turn the fan on. Huh.
Well, see,
It's
it
quiet.
can't get me if I can't hear it. Is that the logic?
Exactly.
so,
Exactly.
Angie, the trick is what you do is
Yeah.
you get one of the stationary fans, and
Yeah.
if you hear some spooky noises, you put your butt cheeks up to it while the fan's going and fart. Scares everything away.
Including me.
Yeah.
Or you just go
When I
flying.
have this stomach bug, that's very dangerous.
Jesus.
That's how you paint the
Nope.
walls.
Yeah, no.
yeah.
Danger.
Oh, you just broke Bobby!
I'm imagining little brown flecks everywhere because
Yeah.
it's poop.
I like your speckled paint job.
Sure.
I'll clean that up later. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Dad.
Scratch and sniff. Never write your name or others in red ink.
Oh.
I have heard that before.
Why?
Writing your name in red ink is said to cause death. The superstition could be stemmed from the practice of writing a deceased person's name on the family register in red ink.
So don't
Or-
write them in a death
yeah.
note.
Yeah, exactly. Or it could have come from the system of having prisoners sign their names in red before they were executed.
Well, that's depressing.
Yeah.
I still like to think it's the death note.
This one's disgusting.
Okay.
Always spit in your crush's drink.
There's a lot of spit in Irish
Yeah.
superstitions, too.
It's a popular Filipino belief that if you spit in someone's drink, they'll fall in love with you.
Okay, that's better than the southern one where you put your menstrual blood in the food to make people fall in love with
Ew, that's nasty.
Is that a thing?
you. It is.
If
I would
see
murder.
You spit, I would rather have the blood than the spit, I'll be honest.
Hard pass on both.
You're both gonna get you killed. I'm gonna kill both of you. I don't give a shit.
It's an old southern superstition that if you want a man to fall in love with you, you would mix your menstrual blood into the food you make them,
I'm
and
just
that they'll fall in love
like
with
the
you.
gnarliest, like, menstrual clot.
Oh,
You want some spaghetti?
It's liver tartare.
Well, I got something better for the South. Instead of using your menstrual blood, you use the yeast from your infection to make some biscuits out of it. And make it for your crush.
Look at Chris's face.
I don't know who the fuck you're hanging out with, Bobby.
Nobody. It's the internet,
Jesus.
man. Is it, some girl did
You know,
that
it's
on
not.
Tumblr.
It's not the same thing. It
It's
doesn't
totally-
work.
Sure.
It's gotta be consensual.
Yeah, I'd kill somebody.
We're gonna
I
need
can
like.
That's
only
just
get
death.
so
Like,
erect here, girls.
that's not
Only
cool.
so erect.
What would you do if you ever did find out like your significant other had put their menstrual blood in
I would
your food,
stab
in
them.
like the
That's
chili or
disgusting.
something?
We're
I
done.
would stab them. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm going to the cops and I'm
Yeah.
pressing charges.
That's not
I'm
cool
pretty sure
No.
that's a
at all.
crime.
Yeah.
No, it is. You can't. There it is.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be like jizzing in someone's drink. Like,
Yeah.
that's not cool.
No,
Yeah,
it's
no.
not. Okay, let's move on because I'm starting to get nauseous.
Got my last one here. Always finish every grain of rice in your bowl.
Oh.
It's believed that not finishing your rice in your bowl will lead to your future spouse being pockmarked.
Oh shit, that was like way left field. I was expecting it to be like, because you won't be fortunate because you didn't eat all of
it's
the wealth
money
you've been
and
given.
You've lost $1.
Yeah, instead it's like
Your spouse is pockmarked.
your spouse is gonna be ugly.
Well, no,
Okay.
it's considered like it's a Chinese superstition, and it stemmed from the fact that rice is a staple food, and wasting would be in bad taste.
Yeah, of course.
So yeah,
Fancy.
It's just a way to get kids to eat all their food.
yeah, that's what my
I know.
parents.
We
I
can
just
throw
love
shit
though.
away.
It's like yo spouse is gonna be ugly. Eat your food.
Well, see, oh, go ahead, Chris.
I would say that's probably a little more. It probably sets in a little harder than just having some bad luck. Like,
Yeah.
nobody wants an ugly partner.
True.
Your baby's gonna be ugly too. No.
Well,
All the rice, all of it.
so see, my parents never threatened me with that. They always said you don't eat all the food in your fucking plate. They'll be waiting for you in the morning. So they.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was my dad. This
Yeah.
is your next meal.
Yeah.
Whatever you want, that's fine. If you want it for
See-
breakfast, that's cool.
I never had that problem because I'm fat.
So is
My mom would
I.
be like, I will
Yeah.
beat you until you eat it all. Oh, okay. I'm gonna eat this.
Yeah.
Being fat myself, it wasn't a matter of whether I want. It was good. It was my dad would cook like 3-bean salad or liver and onions.
For my mom,
and-
it was boiled okra. I
Oh.
couldn't.
Oh, I love okra. That'd be
I know.
fine.
But
I
boiled
lo-
okra? Have you ever seen
It's only
boiled
been
okra?
Yeah.
It's only been recently Angie's really eaten okra as a staple food
It's
from
the slime.
yeah.
So boiled okra sits in
Yeah,
all
because
that
it's
slime.
thick and viscous. You don't like gumbo or jambalaya with?
I can't eat it for the most part.
Oh,
It's
man.
usually has like some kind of
Seafood.
shellfish in it.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. So I do like okra now that I'm older, but when I was younger, something I have a thing about spit, especially phlegm.
Phlegm?
Yeah.
Oh,
We call it phlegm, Chris, so I don't vomit at the word.
the other one.
Yeah, fair.
And
My
I
wife,
will.
my
Like,
wife
that-
has a word
gets
like that.
me.
Yeah.
It's frothy.
Ooh.
So I say it all the time.
Oh God.
Well, now that I know, I'm gonna talk about how frothy my shake was.
Talea's is daddy. Makes her hell uncomfortable. Doesn't matter.
It
Like, any
is kind of a
context.
weird dad. Like it is weird when you
I
get
called
older.
my dad daddy.
I called my dad
Ah.
daddy, but then you make the jokes now and you hear people like, "Hey, you call you proud
Well,
of me, daddy?"
Okay, so mutual friend Claire, she calls her dad daddy, but she says it like a kind of a high pitched tone. It's like daddy, and I'm like, stop. It's so fucking uncomfortable. She's so uncomfortable. That
Claire
shit-
had a word too that she really hated. And I can't remember what it was.
I think hers was moist.
I think it
It
might
was.
be moist.
It was
It
just
was
moist.
definitely moist.
Yeah, because anytime. Oh, it was because.
Because I would always talk about the moist brownies we made.
Oh yeah. I'd be like, you want a moist
I'd
towel?
be like, look how moist Scoop's armpits are.
Every time I saw her, I was like, "You make me moister than an oyster," and she'd be like, "Huh?" I'm like, "Yeah, what's up?"
It's moist. Towelettes. Alrighty. Thank you, Asian man.
I also don't like the word pamphlet. Don't like it.
Pamphlet?
I think it's just.
Pamphlet.
I think it's just a weird word. Pamphlet.
I think yours
Stop.
is like
You gotta stop talking.
the pho
Yeah.
phonetic part.
Oh.
Do you like the word phonetic?
Like,
No, I don't.
yeah,
You're right. Okay.
we
Like,
did
why
it.
does PH sound like pho? Okay. I don't like pho. I don't like the word pho.
yeah,
Or pho. However you say that.
yeah.
Pho. You don't really like pho either.
Well, because of the way it sounds.
Do you like ramen?
I do.
Then you should be fine with pho. It's just yeah, it's
So we
noodle
just gotta
soup.
call it Vietnamese ramen from
I
now
never
on.
thought about that. It is the
The phonetics of it. See? The way the words sound, Angie.
yeah.
But yeah, who wants to go
It's
next?
unusual.
Sounds like a flow. Who would be next? We're going around since we're moving from the Eastern Asia, we'll do Western Asia. I have
Okay.
Western Asia. I have the Middle East. All right, guys. I couldn't actually initially. I told Angie this morning I didn't know what region I wanted to do because I really didn't want to do African, like just regular African superstitions, and then I didn't want to do South American. I'm like, well, where else is there? And I was like, fuck the Middle East. I forgot that. You know.
your heritage.
Yeah, shut up.
That terrifying region of the world.
I know. Okay, so to start off with, I did ask my dad first. I'm like, is there anything, because there's some here that are just very basic. I was like, is there any that are just really unique that you remember? His first thing was, I don't really remember any. Why are you asking me this at 9 o'clock in the morning? That was the first reaction.
I love Mr. Chris so much. He's the best.
He was like, I'll talk to you when I'm awake. So then the second one, he was like, apparently they had one in Iran that was, if you sneeze before you leave the house, you have to wait 5 minutes before you leave because that was a sign of you getting in a car accident.
So this has to be a fairly new superstition.
Well, this was like...
Because there weren't cars.
Well, yeah, I guess so. Or he's like, you had something tragic was going to happen to you. So I was like, at first I was like, are you fucking with me? He was like, no. This is something legit that he was always taught when he was little, that if you sneeze before leaving, they all would wait 5 minutes before they would leave.
Huh.
So that's his, but everything else came from the internet because my dad doesn't remember anything about the Middle East apparently, other than the fact that they got good food. That's about it.
It's reasonable.
Did you say seasonable?
Reasonable.
Oh,
They also have
seasonable
good
would've been
seasons
really
too.
They were-
Seasonings.
Seasonings are real good.
Mm-hmm. Anybody want roomies today?
I know. I was like, and it's funny because when I started going through some of these, I did start to remember things from when I was a kid that I remember hearing as I grew up. But, you know, growing up here, you don't really hear a lot of this stuff if you're not, like, in the culture, and I'm not really in the culture. I'm more in the Western European culture than I am the Middle Eastern culture. So here we go. But the first one that I remember when I was a kid was the evil eye. And this does kind of have some, it does go back to like even Roman and Greek times. So there are some that you see in that culture, but a lot of Middle Eastern cultures believe in the evil eye, which was a bearer of misfortune and envy. And so what you would see around the areas, especially like in Egypt, you would see ceramic turquoise around doors, on clothing and jewelry. Generally you would also see what was called a hamsa, which was a blue hand with a blue eye in the middle to ward it off. So there was a lot of like wards and amulets. But people were so scared of it, that like their children, and children especially were the most vulnerable. They would literally name their kids stuff that like translated to beggars, or they would like dress up their boys as little girls and pierce their ears so they would like deflect the evil eye. And if we complimented your kids and said, oh, your kid he's very healthy looking, he looks like he's doing great, they would get pissed off.
That's an Irish superstition as well,
right?
Like you never say how cute a baby is because the good folk.
Yeah, y'all had fairies. We had the evil eye. Like you would have to say like, oh, like if somebody asked how your kid was doing, they'd be like, oh, they're not eating well or they're sleeping badly
you
because
make them as scruffy and homeless as possible.
Scruffy and as scuffed because you would worry that the evil eye would come
That's
after
funny,
your child.
because that is the exact Irish superstition.
Now, question: does evil have like like stick figure arms and legs, like comical kinds?
No,
or
it's more like a spiritual.
Yeah, it was more like I always contributed it to the Eye of Sauron. That was always my thing.
Oh yeah.
But apparently, it was just a spirit of misfortune.
God.
That's one of the things, like the fort, like the rock and roll horns.
Yeah.
And like spitting through them is like how you ward off the evil eye.
Like the Eye of Sauron.
Like that's an old witchcraft thing.
But and it's funny because think about it now, like even during like the Salem witch trials, or anytime you hear somebody talk about they gave me the evil eye or they gave me the evil look, like even then, like people got burned at the stake for giving you like a bad look because it was a bearer of misfortune.
Jeez.
So that's still very prevalent in the Middle East. You see a lot of it in Egypt, and you do see a lot of it in Arabic cultures. Even when I was little, my grandmother, when she would come back from Iran, she would get me stuff that would ward off the evil eye when we were little.
That's kind of cool.
So I didn't realize that until I got older, and especially now, like researching it, kind of putting it together, I was like, that's why we always got stuff like that, because they were so worried for their kids that something was going to happen to us.
Well, even now, it's funny talking about your dad. Like, he'll be like, hey, Angie, guess what? And I'll say, you know what? He'd be like, Becky's head was so big when she was a kid. Like, it was bigger than her whole body. And she just walked around, like, bonking her head on the floor. So I feel like he's still to protect you.
He'll tell, like, stupid shit.
So he probably said that a lot when you were a kid. Or he'd be like, Angie, guess what? Becky crapped her pants till she was 4. Like
Cool.
I'm like, thanks, Dad. Okay. But, it's funny because, you always attribute a lot of Middle Eastern cultures into being like, oh, you're eating too much. Oh, you're getting so big. And that part of that's the superficiality of the culture. But the other part of it is, like, you don't want to bring bad fortune onto your kids.
Mm-hmm. So it's the way they show they care about you.
By being a dick.
Yeah,
hey,
exactly.
Angie, guess what?
Turns
Guess
out
what?
I'm Middle Eastern this whole time. Who knew?
Yeah.
Becky's head's so big, she got stuck under a recliner one time.
I cannot believe he said this shit to you.
That's funny.
Will
as
you
fuck.
hear it?
I zone him out so much now that I don't even pay attention anymore.
He
But
calls her Bicky, though. Bicky,
Bicky.
your head was so big.
and I did ask my dad some of these, and he said that must be the weird fucking Arabics that do this and not us. I'm just like, Dad. I'm like, you're part of the Middle East. He's like, nah, I'm not part of the Middle East. I'm like, okay, sure. So finding a shoe upside down will definitely render also some like real fear out of Arabic cultures until you turn the shoe right side up. And it's supposed to bring bad luck and lead to unfortunate events. The reason why this exists is that when people used to live in houses that had dirt floors, deadly spiders and scorpions were caught into someone's shoes, leaving the owner with a very nasty surprise. And that hundreds of deaths had occurred because of this. So it was like you needed to make sure your shoe was turned up before you would ever put them on, because you most likely were going to get bit by something that was going to kill you.
Shake something out. Nice ghost scorpion out there trying to kill you.
Yeah.
And then I did
That's like common sense.
Yeah.
Like, that's superstition, but common sense.
Yeah, but it really hammers it. Especially, I think a lot of these are for kids to really flip your shoes over.
You
bro.
will die.
It's like fairy tales.
Yeah,
They're
it's
like
really a good
cautionary
lesson to
tales.
make them listen.
And some of these I've also sprinkled in some ancient Egyptian
Sure.
superstitions because they were kind of fun. Ancient Egyptians believed that suddenly awakening somebody was truly dangerous and had to be avoided because there was a high risk that the person's soul could leave the body in the process. So don't suddenly startle them
your dreams
awake.
are your soul, like, leaving.
So, and they also, Egyptians were the one that originated that cats have 9 lives, which makes sense since I said recipe'd. They
Delicious.
were, they
With
were,
pistachios?
oh my God, you and your pistachios. Something else that is now universally believed and is very much a Middle Eastern and ancient Egyptian thing is the idea of walking under a ladder is bad luck. Matter of fact, it's actually good luck in the Middle East because back in the day in ancient Egypt, you would actually place a ladder inside the tomb of a deceased king in order to help them climb to the heavens. And they still do that now. If you see a ladder leaning against a wall thing, they're not scared to walk under it because it's supposed to be good luck. Versus like the whole Christianity idea that with the Trinity, that you walk under the Trinity, you're breaking the Trinity. So that's just more of a religious thing, in my opinion.
So when I get a mausoleum, when I die, I want y'all to steal a ladder from fucking Home Depot and the whole actual Home Depot ladder, just toss it in there.
That
There
would be
you go.
hilarious.
Like, fuck yeah.
Yeah, why does Bobby have like this ladder in his grave? I don't know. He just wanted to climb up it, and then you see Bobby's like corpse like hanging off
We
of
just
it.
turned it upside down, so he's like on the ladder to hell.
He's climbing down against his will.
No! Why would they do this?
Yeah, because your friends are trolls, but you're
Gotta
also
be quicker than that,
You're
Bobby.
also attributing that none of us are dead as well. Although if I was a poltergeist, I'd pull that shit on you too.
Fair.
Like, come fix this ladder.
Yeah, I'd go fix the ladder. Make it sideways so he just goes back and forth all day. Change your name to Sisyphus. You're just constantly going back and forth.
Never
the ladder.
ends.
Back with the evil eye, though, blue turquoise does protect you from it. So that's why you see a lot of jewelry, especially in the Middle East. I have a lot of blue turquoise jewelry because it was a whole blue turquoise.
Jewelry. I got some
jewelry. I got some jewelry. But I had a bunch of it, and it's funny because at the same time, Native American jewelry had a lot of turquoise in it. So
For
I'm
the same reason, yeah.
Yeah, so it's funny to see how like those.
So does Africa. They're really big on blue beads.
Yeah, they definitely bless those rains down there.
I can't even get mad.
Next week it's just going to be me because I've murdered everybody.
You've taken my old position. I used to get like that too.
Just-
I'd be like, everybody's just gone. Everybody's
death,
just dead.
Death.
The umbrella in ancient Egypt was used for protection from the sun, so opening an umbrella indoor was considered offensive to the sun god. So that was
That's
another
cool.
universal
That's
one.
why that one's...
And that's also Irish.
Yeah.
Which they say, oh, we got it from the Egyptians. Don't know why, but don't do it.
Well, they had the sun god is why. They didn't want to like be offensive to the sun god. So this is also one that I thought was interesting because we had talked about horned owls last week.
Sure.
In Middle Eastern culture, owls are considered wise and good signs of good luck here. However, in Middle Eastern cultures, they are not. They are believed to be a bad omen, and if it hoots, your misfortune is even greater.
Sweet.
See?
So
Interesting.
it's like the opposite. So especially depending on how big the owl is. If you have a great horned owl, it's like the worst misfortune it will be.
So clearly the Irish are just Egyptian.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, so when you deal with like the gypsies and all, I mean, gypsy.
Right. They're
It's
constant.
Well, that and it's a slang word because they thought the Romanovs were from Egypt. Like that's why they're called gypsies.
Yeah.
And
Meanwhile, they traveled there and
everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yeah, just wherever they felt like
Yeah.
going.
That's
So that's probably how these things got scattered all throughout. Gypsies brought it with them.
So what was interesting about the owls, too, is that the ancient Romans linked owls to evil forces due to their nocturnal nature, and they also believed that the owl hooting had signified the deaths of Julius Caesar, Augustus Caesar, and the Roman general Agrippa.
See, I'm telling you, they did. Like, the owl hooted. You knew somebody was dying.
Yeah, they said that legend is they preceded the deaths of these, like, famous
Yeah.
figures.
Yep, somebody did.
Dropping your coffee is a sign of good luck. However, spilling hot water is a sign of bad luck.
Well, it's spilling hot coffee because I
So-
did it in my car today.
Hot bean water, good. Hot no bean water,
Yeah.
bad.
I guess it's like a fortune thing, like you're spreading your fortune on yourself, your 4chan. I don't know. Yeah, I wouldn't be about spilling the coffee. That really does suck, and you smell like it all day. Like that old smell coffee is not good.
And it gets, like, stiff and sticky at the same time.
Are we talking about coffee or are we talking about cup?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Why not both? And then this is just kind of a rundown, but Turkey especially has some really interesting ones, and there's a lot of, and I think you can attribute the fact that Turkey is literally in Europe almost.
Yeah.
That a lot of
Eurasia.
these, it's a Eurasian country that it kind of like has both a hybrid of Middle Eastern and Western European superstitions. So their first one that was really weird is that chewing gum after dark will magically transform you into a mogwai, like in the movie Gremlins.
Oh.
Like, so you don't chew gum because it'll turn you into something bad.
Mogwai, Becky.
Mogwai?
Mogwai.
Mogwai. Oh, I can't. I'm sorry. It looked like Mogwai. Okay. See, my eyes were messed up. If they eat after midnight, it'll turn into the flesh of the dead. And then they also believe you cannot wash your clothes on Sunday. Whistling is bad at night, and then sweeping the house at night is also bad.
Then how do they? Yeah. Then I guess they can't eat a fucking Waffle House then.
Yeah. Oh, there's no Waffle Houses in Turkey because it's bad luck.
And they're poor.
Oh.
I mean,
Well, let's go straight to the heart of that, Angie. Thanks a lot.
I mean,
That's
she's-
probably true, though.
I mean,
Places like...
I'm sure there are a lot of poor people in Turkey, and I wonder how many of those superstitions were like combined from other things because of like the spice routes and the Silk Road going right through there. Like
Right, and they're
all
right
these people
beside
just
Greece.
they
so
just
you had
came in
ancient
together.
Greece stuff, yeah. So you just got a whole bastardization of stuff.
I would love to go to Turkey. I believe right now it's really not the safest time to go, if I'm not mistaken. But they have a lot of like. I think I'd just go to Romania at that point.
From what I hear, most of the Middle East is not very safe to go to
Yeah.
for the past 40-ish
Yeah,
years.
my mom's thing is she wanted to go to Egypt before she passed away, but I ain't looking like it's gonna
Well, and
happen.
this is why
unless...
Greece is so critical, like, to throw in some European politics. When people are like, just let, Greece go over to Russia. Just, let Russia and the Middle East bail them out. Greece is the gateway between the Middle East
Yeah.
and Europe.
Yeah.
So if it falls, what do you have?
Look at like
You're wide open.
look at the historical aspect of that. Like ancient Greece was a huge play in
Yeah.
that entire area.
Mm-hmm.
All right, continuing into the European side of
Or
things.
go to Eastern Europe or Western Europe.
Yeah. So I focus primarily on Ireland because, here's the thing, Ireland, we could talk all day. I just picked out some I remembered from childhood and some interesting ones.
All right.
So these are things that my grandma and mom would harp at me about all the time. And it's unlucky to stir your tea or coffee counterclockwise.
I've heard that too.
Like,
yeah.
don't do anything Widdershins.
Why?
It undoes good luck.
Huh.
It's the undoing motion.
It is though kind of hard to. I'm trying to. Was it that hard? It is harder for me to
My
picture
natural
like.
reaction is counterclockwise.
Yeah, mine too. That's
I
how I
think
start.
mine is. No, mine's clockwise.
It's clockwise.
It's clockwise.
Ooh, okay, we gotta talk. You should never take the last cut of bread from a plate. It's considered bad luck, but that's probably just trying to teach you not to be greedy.
Then who gets the last piece of fucking bread?
Nobody eats it. You give it to the good folk.
Oh.
Oh,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
But I like the end pieces.
I do too.
Well, and funny story is that in the Middle East, it's good luck for you to sniff your bread. So I know different ways of handling things.
That's probably so you can smell poison, like
Probably.
the almond said, if you're being poisoned. Don't light 3 cigarettes with the same match. I'm unsure why. Most of these are just bad luck.
Who's chain smoking with a burning match? Like,
Sorry, my handwriting's terrible.
Oh.
So if you see a bale of hay, like a load on a truck, look at it, make a wish, and then don't look at it again. Because you remember the saying, don't look a gift horse in the mouth?
Sure.
That's it. The gift horse is the horse that carried the load of hay.
ah,
So when you hear that, that's what
shit.
that is. Picture falling from a wall means death.
Oh,
Oh shit! That like is a
that's
whole
aggressive.
extreme.
Christ.
So you know how sometimes you get to work and you're like, oh my god, I put my shirt on inside out. Don't change it. That's very good luck. So doing it unknowingly is a sign of really good luck and fortune.
What
So
about
you-
if you leave your house not wearing a shirt, Angie?
Well, it said inside out specifically, so unless your skin is inside out,
Oh, that'd be
Oh,
creepy.
God.
Yeah.
Ugh.
yeah. If you wash your hands in the same water as someone else, you're probably going to fight. So you both have to spit in it to ward it off, or lightly punch each other.
What the
Oh
fuck?
shit!
These are
This
wild.
is super aggressive.
I'm not sure how punching each other leads to us not fighting,
I
but
know, I was
okay.
about to say.
Yeah.
You guys
I'm
are
on
most
board.
likely going to fight, so just fight each other.
Go
Be
ahead and
done
get it
with
out of the way
Yeah,
early.
Yeah, exactly.
2 moles on your arms means you'll never drown. A weasel standing up and staring at you is really bad luck. So, like, and a weasel could be like, is it a ferrets are in the weasel family? So that's why we never, should have pet ferrets or anything. Because if they stand up and look at you, it's like that monkey from
Can I
Family
just go
Guy.
back to the 2 moles thing a minute?
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking about my arms, and I saw Bobby start looking at his arms, trying to see if he had 2 moles on it to see
Yeah.
if
I
he's
do.
going to
I have
drown.
3
Yeah.
right here.
What does 3 mean, I wonder? You
You're gonna
probably
Oh,
are
fucking
going
he's
to
die.
die.
really not
Don't
gonna
light
drown.
cigarettes with them.
Yeah.
If you sweep out the dust in your house on a Monday, you've swept out all of your good luck for the week. So you really don't want to sweep or dust on Monday.
Huh.
If you keep staring in the mirror one day, you'll see the devil looking over your shoulder.
So I'm trying to think of like the sweeping thing. Like, why would
Yeah.
that be? And I wonder if it's like just kind of the way my brain works. If it's because like they were at church on Sundays, like because Ireland is very Catholic.
Yeah.
Like if you're sweeping out like the dirt or dust or the good vibes from church or whatever. I wonder
Maybe.
if that has something to do with it.
It could be a lot of these things. When I looked into it, just said it's bad luck. Some of
That's-
these you can see where it
Yeah,
came from.
like the same with a lot of the Middle Eastern. There's not really a lot of like origins of it. It's just, hey, don't do it, you little shitheads.
Yeah. The thing about staring in the mirror and you'll see the devil, this came from ancient Rome, where the thought was that if you stare into the mirror, you can see your soul. And if you keep staring, then you'll see the devil. And maybe sometimes something else. And think about that game, Three Kings, where you put the mirrors and you
Yeah.
stare. And maybe you're the one who doesn't come out of that. That's also why breaking a mirror is 7 years bad luck, because you're damaging your soul, but soul regenerates every 7 years. So after 7 years, your soul is healthy again.
Oh, sweet.
Huh.
Next
So-
year, I'm kicking ass. Then.
So after you declare bankruptcy, too.
Yeah. What? Don't cut your hair during Lent because it won't grow back. Because that's like a sign of vanity during a time where you're supposed to be thinking about
Yeah,
sacrifices
repentant
made.
and-
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
So you know how people carry lucky rabbit's feet?
Sure.
The
Sure.
horseshoes and rabbit's foots are very... I said foots.
Feet.
The rabbit foots.
The feetses are very lucky in Irish times, but if you wake up and go to bed and say rabbits 3 times, then something very fortunate will happen to you during the week. So you wake up and the first thing you say is rabbits, rabbits, rabbits. Right before you go to sleep, rabbits, rabbits, rabbits. Something very fortunate will happen to you. A pleasant surprise.
I'm going to try this just for
Go
the hell
for
of
it.
it.
Yeah.
Never put new shoes on the table.
Oh, I'm fucking such a. I do that all the time.
What?
I think it's because people are
Yeah.
buried in new shoes. So, and remember during wakes in the old times, you were laid out on
Yeah, they lay you in
your
state.
table.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like if you put your new shoes on, you're basically forewarning your own death.
Bury me in sandals.
Yeah.
Bury
Just
me
burn
in
me.
satin.
Yeah, too.
Never place a bed facing the door. I didn't really quite see this.
I know. I'm like,
Mine does.
I think
so,
all of our bed does too.
Yeah. And here's the thing that most people are very wrong in Irish culture. You never wear green, except a little bit on St. Patrick's Day. Because you don't want to bring, like, the attention or claim any of that holy, like, St. Patrick's for yourself.
Oh.
Like, so you just don't wear green. You don't want to bring that attention to you. Don't cut your nails on Sunday. I mean, here's the thing about this. This actually started where you didn't want to cut your children's hair or nails because witches use those to do spells.
Yeah.
And Sunday is when their power is the highest, same as that's why you go to church. Like, but that's when the witches are at the height of their power. So you just avoided it. Don't clip your nails or your hair on Sundays. I was unlucky to knit at night.
It's a lot of don't do things at night kind of
Yeah,
thing.
because it's bad luck.
It's like,
and
just
it
go
never
to
really
fuck to
tells
sleep.
you what it is, but it's just bad luck.
Fair.
Go to fuck to sleep.
It's good luck if you hear a cuckoo call, which we know it as a whippoorwill here. So, but only if it's to your right. So if you hear the whippoorwill call and it's to your right, good luck. If the whippoorwill calls and it's anywhere else, you better get your ass inside.
Or turn around and let it be to the right of you.
Literally
Quite-
just shift your...
Now, never refer to the good people as fairies. We folk are little people.
Yes,
They
I knew that one.
Dislike it immensely, and you will get in a lot of trouble with them.
That's why they're called the fair folk, too.
Yeah, as you can see, I got a
Yeah.
lot more. Never throw out water you washed your feet in at night, and always warn the good people before you throw water out.
Yeah, you should just sell your bathwater to simps on the internet.
Exactly.
That's where why do you think that superstition originated? And knew that in a few years you could be selling on like third tier Patreon stuff.
To be fair, isn't Belle Delphine, like, from the UK?
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. See? She knew it.
She knew it, and I'm sure you all have heard the thing like red in the morning, sailor's warning, red at night, sailor's delight.
Yeah.
It also helped them figure out like when was a good time to plant, because if it's red in the morning, there's a storm coming. You don't want to plant and have your shit washed away. On All Souls Day, which is November 2nd, you never take.
Take a shit. Just hold it in all day.
Just hold it in.
I don't want to be.
I know what I'm trying to say, but I can't read my handwriting here. So like, what's the word? If you know a way home and this way you always take, don't take a different route. You don't want to take any shortcuts there. That's the word. So on All Souls Day, you always go the exact same way you always go. Never take a shortcut. Like, I might reach this, the kitchen faster by going that way, but if I've always gone around to the front door.
I'm going around to the front door.
Yeah, because that's how the good people lead you astray. Because their power is a lot strong, like very strong on All Souls Day.
The good people don't sound very good.
Well, Chris, that's very unlucky that you said that.
It's cool because I don't want to worry about them.
I know. The Lucky Horseshoe, like an Irish bride will always have a horseshoe somewhere on her when she gets married, either sewn into the hem of her wedding gown. And then you take that horseshoe and you put it above your mantle or your door, but you always put it points up. That way the luck never spills out or runs over.
Sure.
So if somebody comes to your house and turns your horseshoe upside down, they poured out all of your
They're
good
a
luck.
dick.
Yeah.
Or if it falls,
Why are you touching my horseshoe?
it's a really bad sign. Dreaming of death is a sign of a birth.
Oh yeah,
So-
and that's fairly modern as well.
Yeah, and if you dream of your teeth falling out, you've lost a friend. Whether to death or just
Whatever,
your friendship
yeah.
broke. If your left ear burns, somebody's talking good about you. Your right ear burns, somebody's talking bad about you. Same with giving and receiving money. If your left hand itches, you're getting it, but you got to spit on it to make it happen.
It's a lot of spitting.
Oh, because spit was like, that's why spit's used in a lot of witches spells, because spit is part of you. So if you have spit, blood, and semen, then you have really dedicated yourself to a spell.
I also love the fact that you hate spit.
Yeah, I can't do it. Here's one that I don't know where this comes from, but my grandma would always, when the cat was washing her face, she'd say, don't look at her, because the first person the cat looked at and made eye contact was the first to die. So if she's only washing her face and she looks up and looks at you, well, you're dead. You're done
Jeez.
for. That's it.
Damn, I should have died a while ago.
Yeah.
And here's some that share between Ireland and Scotland. It's unlucky to get out of bed on the left. So that's why you say, did you get out of bed on the right foot? Because you don't want to get out on the left, to the left.
Woke
Yeah.
up
And,
on the wrong side of the bed.
You've heard of like the black sheep in the family? Well, that's because if a black sheep was born with a sheep was born with a black face, it meant doom for the herd. So that's why you're the black sheep of the family. You've doomed your family. So you're the family's doom. Grandma and I also read about this. The wind is a really bad omen in Ireland if it changes direction, and probably for them it's because of the storms.
Sure.
But if you make a face as a kid, it'd be like, oh, the wind's gonna change direction, and then your face is stuck like that. So like here in America, you still hear your face will get stuck that way.
Yeah, if you
but the
cross your
whole
eyes.
saying is, if the wind changes direction, your face will stick like that. So it's like a bastardization.
Well, and you hear a lot of people talk about the winds changing and the winds of change
The
and winds of
winds of
fortune.
Yeah. So the wind can be a really bad open,
And
or really fortunate, depends on what it's doing.
And I think that's a lot of sailors' lore too, like about the winds, like when
Yeah.
you start to sail, about how the winds are going at the time you start to sail.
Yeah. So here was some interesting ones about redheaded women. So if you are a seller in a marketplace and the first person that comes to you is a redhead woman, you're not going to sell a thing all day. If the first person you see in the morning has red hair, you may as well just go back to bed.
Every goddamn day.
Yeah. And red-haired women and sailors notoriously don't get along. They're very bad luck to sailors. like they'll just let a red-haired woman die. Like, we're not going
Jesus.
to rescue her. She's extremely bad luck.
That's aggressive.
Remember Red in the Morning, Sailor's Warning?
Yeah.
And the hearse has it. So if you see a hearse on the way in a funeral procession, don't count the number of cars behind it because that's how many years you have left.
No.
Oh, shit.
And my favorite is throwing a boot after a freshly married couple is good luck, especially if it hits them.
Oh, fuck yes.
So if you
I need to
like,
go to some Irish weddings.
I know. That would be fun.
Just show up with a
Knock the
sack
shit
full of
out of
boots
them.
and just start
Just
chucking
like
them.
shucking them
Yeah.
at him.
Steel toe boots.
here's
Gotcha.
just a few more that apparently are very common, but I didn't really hear these from my grandma. But never give something sharp to a friend, like scissors or a knife, because it severs your friendship. But if you get a coin in return, then you're fine. So I'm like, so you're selling it to him? What?
That was something similar too in Middle Eastern culture.
Same
Is like
with
if
Asian
you have,
cultures.
if you have scissors, don't like cut, like make the scissors like cut anything. If you don't have anything empty cutting, because it's considered bad luck and you'll lose people in your life. You're cutting people out of your life.
So that's also kind of related. There's a couple southern ones where, like, if you open a knife, you have to close it. Even if you give it to somebody, they can't
Yeah.
close it for you.
Yeah.
And there's an older one that's kind of, it's weird and you don't hear about it much, but there's a rule that if you give somebody a knife, you have to give them money with it
Oh.
or it'll sever the friendship. So there are still people that if they get like their grandson or whatever a pocket knife, they'll give it with a penny.
Yeah.
Just, and I mean, there are people that do that to this day that just still give.
You know, my granddaddy on my dad's side, whenever he gave me my first pocket knife, like a whittling knife,
Yeah.
which I almost cut my thumb off with.
Sure.
But it was wrapped in a $1 bill.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
I
have to give
remember
money.
that. Yeah, okay. There's also one about seeing crows in Ireland, which, so if you see one crow, it's sorrowful. But if you salute it and tell it the time, you're supposed to ward it off. But there's actually a rhyme that you guys have probably heard. It's 1 for sorrow, 2 for joy, 3 for a girl, 4 for a boy, 5 for silver, 6 for gold, 7 for a secret never to be told. But it's supposedly really good luck. But I'm like, hold up. When we get to 7, it's a secret never to be told. I don't want the devil to pop up and whisper in my ear. Because I'm telling it.
Everybody.
Yeah. Oh, and here's one that we have in the U.S. as well. And it's if you see a coin on the ground, here you're supposed to pick it up. But we've kind of bastardized it, and it's like you don't pick up a penny on tails,
Yeah.
but it's good luck to pick up a penny on heads. Yeah. But so it's very bad luck to see a coin and not pick it up. That's probably because they were very poor.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I saw a $50 bill, I'd pick it up. And I'm very fortunate today. Yeah.
Well, I didn't realize that they saw like Stonehenge and those places as fairy forts. And disturbing that is really, really unlucky and can lead to even death. Sleepless nights until you die. So I'm like, we don't have to worry about that. If your nose is itchy, it's a sign a fight's coming. Same thing. Either hit them or shake their hand and then spit.
On each other? That's kind of kinky.
Is it anybody your nose is itchy around?
I guess whoever's, if my nose
Just start
itches
punching
right
the
now,
air.
and it's all three of us, I'm like, well, we gotta hit each other and spit. Like, maybe that's where porn gets it.
Please don't. Oh, God. Spit in open mouth. Oh.
Flag him.
So the Christmas candles, not just a pretty decoration, it's a sign that you're welcoming the Holy Family, that they can enter and stay with you, and it's a sign of hospitality. If your Christmas candle goes out, bad luck.
Those fuckheads better pay some rent.
Yeah.
That's right.
One I thought was interesting, and I do remember I told you guys last week about if stuff fell on the floor, we knew a visitor was coming, but I didn't know the specifics. But a knife means a gentleman visitor, fork is a female, and a spoon is a child. But you had to be careful how the spoon fell because it could be the good folk, like pretending to be a child, like black-eyed children, or so you had to be careful about
Irish
that too.
superstitions are just really creepy.
It's just good and bad luck, or you die.
What it sounds like is they were drunk and had too much time on their hand and just started saying things.
Yeah, I mean, an all-potato
Yeah.
diet also doesn't
Yeah,
help.
it really does mess you up a little
A lot
bit.
of
If
vodka.
you knock over a chair while you're standing, bad luck. And once again, it doesn't tell you why, it just is.
Just like my grandparents. It just is.
But here's an interesting one. A bird pooing on you or your car is very good luck. That's a Russian thing that the Irish picked up.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So if you get shit on, you might think it's bad luck, but it's actually very good luck.
Good to know. Get shit on.
Yeah. Always, even to this day, they put crosses in their soda bread because it wards the devil out.
Oh, yeah, that's why you see it, the little cross in the
Yeah.
bread.
So you want to get the devil out of the bread. And that's probably because they were so poor and ate like the chaff of the wheat, which could kill you if not prepared properly. So it probably let it cook evenly through. So they're getting the devil out by putting a cross and allowing
I
it
also
to
love the
actually
idea
cook.
that it's like, make sure you put like the cross in your bread so it's not possessed, but don't eat the last piece because you're going to die.
Exactly.
Well-
We're going to go through all this trouble, but if you take the last piece of the bread, death.
You're a cunt.
I wonder if the chaff is more prone to getting
That.
ergot.
The mold?
Yeah, the mold that can cause you hallucinations and
Okay,
then
and
death.
that also makes that League of Legends character make so much more sense. His name's Urgot.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
always wonder where they got that name, but
Yeah.
it's the mold that kills people.
Yeah, and that's what they think basically afflicted the Salem during the witch
Yeah.
trials. They think it was the ergot growing on the wheat and the corn,
Interesting.
and then people just kind of
Lost their shit.
for a minute.
Out of everything that we've said so far today, if you calling that Urgot is like the mind-blown
Well,
part for me.
And that's part of why, I really enjoy languages, because all these things actually mean something, and they came from somewhere,
Yeah.
and where. We can just figure it out. You just a lot of research, and it kind of sucks.
It seemed like Ireland was like the dumping ground for all the superstitions because all of them just seem to originate from somewhere. Romans, Greeks, Gypsies
Well, I mean,
brought this from here.
the Irish were enslaved by people for
Yeah.
a lot of
time.
years, so they kind of had to adopt whatever whoever was in charge said.
Yeah, because Scotland shares some of them, but they've got their own particular bag of bullshit that they believe in. So, but it was interesting to see how many are also shared here.
Did you know that Lux means light?
Yeah,
Did you know that Leona means sun?
yeah.
Did you know Diana means moon?
I know that Diana's a goddess of the moon.
You're welcome. I also threw some language in there too.
That's fine. I knew all that. I didn't know Urgot.
I'm trying to think of other ones while we sit here now. Thanks for putting me on this road.
Hey, Chris, you got any fancy superstitions?
I do. We are. I looked
Thank
up.
God.
I looked
I'm
up.
excited about yours, to be honest.
I just looked up some from the South that.
Yeah.
And again, my family wasn't very superstitious. We actually did one of these, which I was surprised once I learned why. And the first one I want to talk about is the black eyed peas and collard greens on New Year's Day.
Ah.
It's a huge thing around here, and I didn't honestly. Doesn't make a difference to me, but my family does it. Every member of my family has done it for as long as I can remember. And there are two theories as to. So supposedly black eyed peas and a green, be it mustard, turnip, collard, whatever, are supposed to bring you good luck throughout the year if you eat them on New Year's Day. So there are two decent reasons why this superstition exists, and then one that I think is just kind of stuck in there. So the original that I could find is that eating especially beans of any sort, lentils, on New Year's Day is a huge thing in the Jewish community. It's part of Rosh Hashanah, maybe? But they've been doing it for 1,500 years, and when they think that maybe they brought that tradition with them when there was a big settlement of Jewish people that moved to Georgia in the 1780s, they think maybe they brought it with them then. And the tradition doesn't really pick up until the late 1800s, so that doesn't seem like it was probably not
Well,
that
Chris,
one.
maybe it's Irish because the Irish believe if you eat lentils on New Year's Day, you won't get sick with a digestive illness.
Sure.
So maybe.
And it may have
Or
come
just
from...
a bastardization of all of it.
Well, the second one is the second reason it became a tradition is the thought behind it is when Sherman marched to the sea, him and his troops would basically march through cities and take everything, all the food and merchandise they could carry, everything they needed, and then burn the rest. Well, the only things they didn't burn were black-eyed peas and dried pork because they didn't think they were fit for human consumption. So they thought they were just for feed animals. And
Fuck you, surprise.
yeah, well, they'd already taken or killed, they either slaughtered or cooked all the feed animals they could grab, so they didn't have to bother with doing that, and it became a lucky thing after he had left it. He left some form of food so
Yeah.
that they could eat and
Yeah.
not starve to death. And that one makes a lot more sense to me, especially with it becoming more kind of a prevalent thing in the late 1800s.
Yeah. Well, and ham was always the representative of good health, so that would make a lot of sense
Yeah.
on that one.
But they would, supposedly left them, just black-eyed peas and dried pork, which they then seasoned the black-eyed peas with, so they could have food. Because even now, if you try to cook black-eyed peas from beans to edible, it takes a minute, because those
Yeah.
things are like bullets. It's like boiling lead for 16 hours. It's tough. So, and that may be why they didn't bother burning them, was no one's going to eat this. It's not food. Who cares?
Yeah.
Might as well burn rubber. It just doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And the third one, which is less probably what happened, is that supposedly in the South, New Year's Day was the official Emancipation Day for slaves. Basically associate black-eyed peas with the ending of slavery.
Gotcha.
Oh.
Okay.
So it's funny story you talking about the black eyed peas. We were talking about this at lunch one day at work, and I have a Latino coworker who had never heard of this, by the way.
Yeah.
She didn't even know. And we were talking about that, and she's like, well, we eat crepes on New Year's Day. And I'm like, oh, that must mean something. What does that mean? She's like, we just like crepes.
Yeah, I'm on board. I like
Yeah,
crepes
I
too.
know. She was like, no, I just eat crepes. I'm
You
like,
mean those thin pancakes?
yeah, deliciousness. I told her next time, though, when it's New Year's, I'm going to bring her some black-eyed peas and turnips and ham.
Cornbread.
Yeah.
Don't do that to her.
I love black-eyed peas.
Or bring her some mustard greens for sure.
Oh man,
yeah.
mustard greens are my favorite.
Me too.
It's
I like them all.
And,
And-
maybe mustard greens because they, they're more of a fall and winter crop. So maybe that's why they had those, like collards and that.
Yeah, well, there are some, and there's still some people in the South that take, and when they do like a big pot of black-eyed peas, they throw a dime in there, and whoever's portion on New Year's Day has the dime, like they're supposed to have good luck and make a bunch of money that year.
Oh, see,
If
I've
they
never
don't
done that
choke to
before.
death.
Yeah, if they don't choke on it.
I think that's why you use a dime and not a quarter.
It's like a little, like the king baby.
Yeah, kid baby cake.
Yeah.
I'm a dick. I'll put a $50 in there.
Just put a whole dollar in there and you like start slurping it and it's really crunchy and you're like, why does that taste weird?
But yeah, that's one of those three is where the origins of black-eyed peas and greens on New Year's Day in the South came from. I probably lean towards it's the only thing Sherman left for them to eat after he moved through.
That makes sense.
Because that makes a lot of sense because A1, emancipation did not happen on New Year's Day. And I don't think the Jewish community was large enough here
No.
to have had that kind of an effect.
Well, it's funny because everybody remembers black-eyed peas and the greens, but my mom has always been ham black-eyed peas and greens.
Yeah.
And
'Cause
we
of
really are sentimental people
Yeah.
here in the South.
I'm not complaining. I love all three of those things.
I'm more of a cinnamon kind of person.
A dolce. Very
No,
fancy.
because it's
Sentimental.
sentimental, cinnamon.
I know cinnamon dolce. Never mind. You need to be more
Jesus.
basic. Jesus.
So,
Yeah, excuse the fuck out of me.
the second one I'm going to talk about, you guys have probably seen and didn't know it was a superstition of any kind, and it's called Haint Blue.
Oh, yes.
It
I
is
don't know
where-
what the fuck that is.
So it is a thing where in the South they will paint the porch's roof like a light blue or aquamarine.
Okay.
And you see it a lot in old school houses. It's all of them. It's the craziest thing. They'll do the porches and the shutters a lot of times that blue. So it's called Haint Blue because it's supposed to ward off ghosts. It is a tradition from it is the Gullah Geechee, which were the enslaved African Americans that live on the islands of South Carolina and Georgia. They were brought here to farm indigo in the late 1700s. They had indigo in Africa already, and a lot of the places these people came from, so they already knew how to extract indigo from the indigo plant.
Yeah.
They knew what they were doing. So supposedly, the blue color, if a ghost came through it, it would do one of two things. One, he would think it was water, and ghosts can't pass over water.
Yeah.
Or two, they would think it was the sky, and they had missed their target entirely and just keep going. They just missed the house.
Isn't it interesting thinking about the turquoise?
Yeah,
and
the blue.
Stuff? Yeah.
I was saying, and
Interesting.
when I found that out, I start researching the Gullah Geechee, and supposedly they're just the combination of the African tribes that were brought here that called themselves either the Gullah or the Geechee. It depends on if you're in South Carolina or Georgia. So Georgia is the Gullah, I believe, and South Carolina is the Geechee, but it's the same kind of
It's the same, yeah.
combination of Africans that were
So
previously slaves.
It's funny you mention that because if you go to a lot of well, probably not anymore, but when I was younger, if you would go out into the islands or Tybee or anything like
Sure.
that, you would see more houses painted in that haint blue.
Absolutely.
And it was still very prevalent. And actually, when you talk about, if you ever go to somewhere in like South Georgia, or if you go places like Savannah, they still even my grandmother refers to ghosts as haints.
Haints, yeah.
Paints. Yeah, and I remember my grandma's house had just the posts were painted that blue.
Yeah, it's
So
the
they can't pass through.
It's
I
the-
get it now. Haunts, haints.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
big brain time. Sorry. It took me a fucking minute. I'm like, why does this make sense?
well, so
Why is your brain processing?
Right.
when I
Took me a
started
second.
researching Haint Blue, I have to go back because it came from the Gullah Geechee. I have to go back to the African tribes and figure out, hey, did they believe this thing? So even with them, the color blue is a strong talisman. It's supposed to ward off evil spirits. They put blue in a lot of beads, and because they could form indigo, they knew what they were doing already. But I couldn't find an instance of them believing that it was water or sky and that the ghost couldn't follow them. So the way my brain works is I start thinking maybe that part of the tradition comes from they were kind of transported here against their will over large bodies of water.
Yeah.
And really the only things they could see were sky and water. I mean, you see that forever. And if they get here and the spirits or the ghosts or whatever from wherever they were from aren't here, so they can't follow. Like, maybe that's why they believe that it wards them off or they can't locate where they're at, because they have traveled a long way over these two blue things
And I'm trying to remember too, at the same time, because the idea that water is not just a conduit of spirits, but I do believe that it's also an Irish belief that spirits can't travel over water or distances of water at all, and if you cross a river to stay away from them, they can't follow you if they wanted to.
Yeah, it's the whole Legend of Sleepy Hollow thing. That's why the horsemen couldn't go over the bridge.
Right. That was very much an English, Irish, Western European idea. So I suspect that it probably comes from very similar ideas, especially with the traveling over the water.
If it's like a sailor thing that kind of got transplanted into, we don't have the spirits from home here. Clearly, they can't follow us because it's either sky or water. Mm-hmm. And that's where that color blue comes from. So, and there's not, again, you can't, I tried, it's hard to research the Gullah Geechee back in Africa because there's no such thing. That's just the word for here for the combination of the people that were taken from over there to here. And they're not from the same tribes. They're not from the same even regions of Africa. There's Gold Coast, there's Rice Coast. They're just all from different places. So, it's hard to find the origin of that other than they have basically combined their beliefs into what they called hoodoo, or I guess now it's voodoo or whatever, juju, whatever you want to call it. They all call it different things, but it's their spiritual beliefs, which are like a combination of African and Christians, because again, the slave masters were very Christian-ish, supposedly, but they kind of absorbed all that. And it's interesting to me because you go to these huge plantation houses around here and you can see like their front porches painted blue, and you're like, nice African tradition, bro. Like,
yeah, a lot of people still have that. Like, you'll see a lot of houses with white. It's painted white with the trim of it being blue, especially if you go out to more rural areas, or even like, I'm trying to think if actually where my grandmother lives, my step grandmother lives, a lot of those houses are painted those colors. Now that's a very affluent part of the Savannah, but they still do it.
Yeah.
Because it's just a tradition that's been passing around. I've always wanted to do it. I thought it would be really like just have some sort of trim of it because it's such an old superstition that is very southern.
Well, that's the haint blue. The second one is bottle trees, which I'm sure everybody, if you live around here, have seen. It's just where they put a bunch of like colored bottles on trees, like on the branches and stuff.
Fair, okay.
Also a slave tradition. It also started off as 100% blue bottles because there used to be cobalt blue was kind of a common bottle color back in the day. And they were either called bottle trees or hoo bags, which was the other one, basically like a bag for ghosts.
Yeah.
The idea was that the ghost would travel into it and wouldn't be able to get out of the bottle because it's blue, and he wouldn't understand if he was in sky or water or whatever, and he'd just be trapped forever. So you still see bottle trees around every now and again. They don't always have blue bottles on them. A lot of people use just reds and whatever color they can find, but there are a few around here that's... And I honestly never knew why they did that.
You just thought it was decorative.
Like art, yeah. It's just their art thing. But no, it actually is a slave tradition to keep ghosts away.
We had bottle trees when I was growing up. Yeah. Anytime we would drink Coca-Cola out of the glass, I could put it on the bottle tree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's what it's from.
I knew of this from the book Because of Winn-Dixie. One of the characters has a bottle tree in the background because she used to be an alcoholic, and all her bad memories and stuff are in those bottles.
And there's some following back to the good folk is you would put out bottles, like pretty bottles and stuff like that, to attract good attention to them, so they wouldn't come to your home and bring you misfortune.
And then you never messed with those trees.
Yeah.
Once you made that tree for the good
it was
folk,
done. I wonder about like with the slave tradition, if it was basically because the masters, that was just garbage, but it was shiny, pretty garbage, and it was blue. And they just had such an attachment to blue that, cool. They didn't have to, because I can't imagine too many slaves had too much access to
nice shit. Yeah.
I wonder if that's also where sort of the origins of wind chimes also come from, because the bottles would knock against each other to make that tinking noise.
Yeah, and wind chimes are a bit different because remember the Irish tradition about the wind changing? It let you know when the wind was picking up. It gave you like a sign that the omen changing. And also the weather vanes.
I feel like we just learned so much today.
Yeah. Well, and I want to segue a little bit on what Chris is talking about, just to have a teaching moment to our listeners. This is one of the reasons why when you hear people say white pride, it's like there's no such thing as white pride. Like, what are you proud of? Because what is your white culture? Oh, do you mean Irish culture? Do you mean the African culture we took over? Do you mean, Middle Eastern culture? Like, what is your white pride? Like, let's dig into this, because you've stolen everything, unless you're proud of, say, your Irish heritage.
Sure. See, and I don't. The pride thing is a confusing one to me because I'm Irish German by ancestry, but I'm not I don't care. Like,
Yeah.
It's
I'm
an
proud
apathy.
of I'm proud of my accomplishments, but not like as a nation Irish. I just don't care. So again, I'm not saying that's how everybody should be. It's just how I am. Like,
Yeah.
I've never understood the whole I'm proud of where I'm from thing. It's just not. I'm proud of what I've accomplished. I'm proud of my family, but I'm not proud of the landmass I come from. I just don't care. Like, I love living in America. I really don't want to do anything else.
Right.
However, it's because the accomplishments of people, not the mass that it is.
Right.
Like, it's just a different thing to me.
Yeah, I used to be really proud to be in a country where it seemed like everybody was free and equal. As, you get older, you get a little jaded and your naivete disappears.
Well, I look at it like these superstitions, like, a lot of the Southern superstitions are from slaves. Like, it's really strange how many of these are in really nice, expensive houses in Savannah and Charleston and New Orleans. And this is all slave culture that they have kind of taken over. Like, and you don't think about it because... Why would you? Like, you never assume this originated with enslaved people.
Well, and you just kind of think about it as you get older and time passes by. It's something that just is done. Like, this is done. Like, New Year's Day, if you're Southern, you eat ham, black-eyed peas, and green beans because of that. You don't really think, okay, this is where it comes from. It's the same with a lot of these holidays. Christmas, Halloween, all of these different holidays where their origins have come from. Easter.
That's the one that gets me the most. Like, oh, you're celebrating Australia.
Yeah.
Okay.
Festivus.
Yeah. Festivus for the rest of us.
Astor.
Well, shoot.
But I think
Had
a
good
lot
point.
of what we're getting at is all of our cultures have borrowed from other cultures.
Yeah.
Like, we've all, again, either at one point or another been in really close association with other cultures, owned by other cultures, or owned other cultures
and
that we've borrowed from.
And look at the superstitions we're talking about, how they're shared. So,
Yeah.
The Irish are like, oh, I'll take it. Yeah, give me your fears.
The Irish seem like they want everybody. It's like,
Yeah.
just pour them all on
We'll
us.
take it.
Well, and I was going to say, we also have to, think about it is what we think are differences, with other people's cultures, and we take into account the negative ideas of these cultures. At the end of the day, we all share unique things that all are kind of there together. Cross references. I mean, if you think about it, look at the fact that you have Middle Eastern culture that references Irish culture. That's because at some point historically they were all together at some point and interconnected.
Or the gypsies travel between the two, and it's like, hey, guess what? We heard Irish
Hey, guess
people.
what?
Better not open that umbrella.
Yeah. And, I mean, that makes it here.
Yeah.
And the same thing with, I look at, like, the Hank Blue, and there's like a lot of weird ones that the South has that are borrowed from slavery.
Well, and like the singing gospel hymns, you didn't sing in church before slaves. Like, it was very...
It was forbidden for a while.
Yeah.
No music,
You
no
didn't
singing.
sing. And
Supposedly, I think in churches, the only people that were allowed to sing, especially certain religious subcultures, was the pastor. Like, that was, or the preacher, or the minister, or whatever you want to call him. He was the only one that was allowed to raise his voice. So it's just weird to see how much, and again, it's a matter of time, like how much these have changed and how much they have been intermingled that people don't even know. Like, I didn't know bottle trees came from slavery, basically trying to keep ghosts out of the house.
Yeah.
It was interesting to me, and that's why I do this research. Like, I want to find out, okay, is this a thing back where they came from? Well, no, because God knows where these people came from. They just kind of put all their religions together and did it themselves.
And you can relate bottle trees to genies in a bottle.
Yeah,
In the Eastern
the gin.
culture, they're trapped.
I feel like
They're
I'm being
literally trapped.
stereotyped right now. We didn't put them in a bottle. We put them in our Habib.
Oh, your lamp? You put your Robin Williams in a lamp?
Yeah, we did. Little blue lamp. And he was blue.
Mine.
Keep the evil eye out. Oh, well.
But yeah, I think what we're saying is every culture has their own superstitions, and none of them are really that much different.
Nope.
And they're all kind of borrowed from each other one way or the other.
So
'Cause
while
we
you're
steal
sitting there
shit.
looking down on people, your whole culture that we're
Yeah.
living in is an amalgamation of all these people that you're looking down on.
I would like to say that it would be nice for us to, say that this was the whole point of this episode is we wanted to bring people together to
It's
understand
not.
it. It wasn't.
No, we just like
it's
superstitions.
spooky time,
Yeah.
and it's time to be superstitions.
And we're going to talk about ghosts and what people believe, and that's fun.
Absolutely. So,
And look at the owl, how he just
Pops
is.
back up.
Yeah.
how many licks does it take, man?
That owl's fucking scary.
And
It is.
honestly, scientists have proven that owls not very bright birds.
No.
They're not very bright.
Yeah,
they're like pandas. They're not very bright.
They're
Pandas
good
are
mail
adorable,
carriers in Harry
though.
Potter, though.
Adorable. Well, I mean, Hedwig was. I would take her. I would have a pet owl if I could,
Don't
but I'd
talk
also
about
be
Hedwig.
terrified of it. Because it's like it's inherent in me.
I would just let mice go so it would screech in the weirdest times of day in your house. It just terrifying.
would die.
But Angie, guess what? They eat frogs and shit. So
Yeah, they also eat cats, so... I think one of the most traumatic things I've seen was in the backyard with some neighbors, and suddenly, cat's gone. Like,
Jesus.
that's it.
I mean,
say,
owls gotta eat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That pussy got snatched.
All right, that was a great episode, guys. Thanks.
So now all owls are Trump.
Also, we love you.
Hey, Becky, where can they find
You can find us at Facebook at The Free Rotation Podcast. You can find us on Twitter at The Free Rotation. We are also on YouTube and Twitch at The Free Rotation. Check us out streaming whenever we decide to stream. We do a lot of now. We live stream our ghost hunting adventure. So feel free to check that shit out. And we also stream D&D, so that's pretty cool,
We also do live streaking.
It's just Bobby, and that is illegal.
No, it's not. It's fun.
Oh, by the way, we also have a Discord. So if you're ever interested in joining our Discord to find out when we're live, or if you ever want to hang out and talk to us because
And
we need friends.
have our new paranormal investigation thing up, so you can catch a lot
so
of
that's
stuff
at The
there.
Free Rotation. You can find, go type in, you can check out, the Discord link is all on Twitch, so you can check that out. We're also on Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube, wherever you want to listen.
You can listen to your podcast.
Yes, and you can check us out at Weeby Geeks. Check out all the blah, blah. There's a lot of stuff. Hey, why don't you just go listen to our
We're doing what we
stuff?
can.
Hey, Chris, you started streaming this week, right?
Also, yeah, I was gonna say I'm gonna stream Magic 2 or 3 days a week. So if y'all want to come watch, I will be live.
And we have a host. We'll host him so you guys can find him.
And Chris talked about eventually streaming under us.
Yep.
Yeah.
So if you support us, go support Chris. And Chris,
Yeah.
your Twitch handle is Heartless Hero with a 0.
It's Heartless Hero with the second E's a 3. The E in Hero is a 3.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So check that out. Make sure to support us, guys. We support you. You support us.
We love everybody.
I need access to this Discord.
Yeah,
You-
no kidding.
Yeah, we can add you to the Discord. You
I
just
know. I didn't know we had Discord.
Yeah, Bob.
What?
They announced it last
I
week.
don't fucking remember things.
Yeah,
I
we've
barely
had
remember what I had for
Discord
breakfast this morning.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can join our Discord. You can't post butt pictures of yourself.
I'm not Pete, okay?
Oh, God, that was the most horrible thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, Chris
Never
knows what I'm
again.
talking about.
Big Gay Pete?
Yeah.
Remember the bed picture where, the mirror showed his ass and everything?
No.
He put it on Facebook.
I was not friends with him on Facebook.
Oh, my
I'm
God.
sending you that picture.
I
though.
was friends with him for 2 minutes, and I was like, that's a lot of weird stuff. I got to get out of here.
Yeah,
I'm
it got
gonna get a
weirder.
playmat made for you with that picture and just slide it to you.
Again, I liked Pete.
He's a nice guy.
However, his personal life was his personal life, and it just was unappealing to me to see live.
Yeah.
Fair.
It was shocking. I ended up, and I can handle a lot of stuff.
You shot Scoop half naked with magic cards around him.
Thank you. I did a whole calendar, but that was a little bit too much for me.
No.
I was like, I didn't realize you were a freak like that.
Yeah, I'm cool with I can be friends with Pete. I just don't want to see that. Again, I assume he doesn't want to see the stuff I do,
Yeah.
so I don't post it.
But you know who we do.
You just keep your mic unmuted.
Yeah, no kidding.
But you do know who we want to hear from. You guys.
All of y'all.
Viewers like you.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Reading Rainbow.
I had a conversation about LeVar Burton the other day. I was talking about Star Trek. I'm like, LeVar Burton's a fucking goddamn gem. God bless Reading Rainbow.
Yeah.
Okay, bye, guys.
Love
no,
you.
He loves it. If you bring up Reading Rainbow to him, he'll fucking take pictures with you, and he loves.
Did
that
you know
shit.
his daughter was on Critical Role?
No.
There you go.
She hot?
She's very pretty, yeah.
She's single?
Did you know he tried to convince us all to read books, and he showed up on Star Trek later blind?
Yeah, for reading.
Books
And
cause
that's-
blindness. Let me throw this out there.
And that's the moral of the story.
I like to read her rainbows sometime to catch my drift.
Oh, please, God, let LeVar Burton show up and just beat the shit out of Bobby. Just unmercilessly assault him.
I like how we went from superstitions. Here's a very important moral of the
to me trying
story.
to fuck LeVar
Pete's
sister.
butthole. LeVar Burton beating the shit out of Bobby. That's all this podcast is.
It's all linear, baby. We keep it all in order.
Bye.
I'd be like, he's
Winning.
hitting me. I'm like, why, Jordy? Why?
Free